Angry Bears Fan Podcast, episode 53. Season's over. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I see we're getting some feedback.
A little
A
bit
few
better. Yeah,
comments
I
on
was.
you on YouTube videos, Facebook posts, a couple of comments on your TikTok,
We appreciate
on the
that.
Angry Bears fan, TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe to there as well.
Yeah, all
I
that
was
stuff.
gonna I was gonna comment on a few today. I just wasn't in the argumentative mood earlier today, but I might be now. Um, you know,
All right,
I mean we
before
could.
we jump into that, though, you save the points. I wanted to kind of get back to our old format. We kind of now we're a little loosey goosey, but I want to kind of, you know what I mean, stick to topics. It's hard for me to chop up the videos when we bounce around so much and make clips. So before we get into everything else, I just want to jump into the Packers game. We don't have to spend too much time on it. We all watched it. The whole world was watching. A miserable feeling. Days away. You know what I mean? It's over. Playoffs are going. We were hyped, really optimistic. The Bears are rolling going into that game. And it just felt like week one where like we just had all this momentum. We thought things were going to go different. Where just the future was looking kind of bright. I mean, a little brighter than it had been. And we just ran into a brick wall, and it's just frustrating. The Bears had nothing for him. Justin was pedestrian. He was like 16. What do you have? 160 yards or 120 yards on 11 completions. 11 for 16. Yeah, some change. For like 130 or some shit like that. No interceptions, no touchdowns. We rushed for like 50 yards. It was a miserable performance by everyone on the offense, and Getsy paid the price.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Love had his way. Jordan Love threw for 327 yards. He had a turnover on the fumble. Aaron Jones had over 100 yards. He was the only 100-yard rusher we've allowed all season. The defense didn't look good. I guess it's kind of indicative of how the season's been. We beat bad quarterbacks. The teams that we beat, with the exception of one Detroit game, was Jared Goff on the road. So, I mean, is it more of an indictment on the whole team? Probably. I mean, like you said, Luke Getsy paid the price. The game was horrible. It was play all around bad. Yeah, the Bears only held the Packers to 17 points, but if you watched the game,
Yeah, we were
it,
never in
it,
it.
it yeah, it should have been a lot more than that.
It was some bad time management by Jordan Love at the end of the half, cost them 3 points. Uh, Bad play by the offense. It looked like Love called an audible and nobody else knew what he was doing, so he had to run and he fumbled. Which really, I mean, again, that's defense. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what the Bears have always done. You know what I mean? Kind of, we talk about all the time. It's kind of annoying. The cover two, the bend don't break, and get a turnover when you need it. But yes, Jordan Love lit us up. Uh, like I said, Getsy, I don't get it. Like, I don't. They were kind of playing this game like we were trying to get into the playoffs, like just very conservatively. Like his job's not on the line. Like Justin's job's not on the line. Like honestly, I mean, Eberflus isn't getting fired, but at that point, how do you know his job's not on the line? And it just they went out to fall flat in your face like that, and it was so like you said earlier, indicative of the season that the final play of the game on offense was a 3rd and 22 screen, and it's just like
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
That was the final play. That's the last thing we saw of Getsy. Our season, the biggest game of the year. You know, game on the line, and you throw a screen on 3rd and 22.
Well, not only that, you took the ball completely out of your quarterback's hands in the third quarter. He didn't attempt a single pass, and you know, you said it right. The game was just bad. The season's over. But Sean, I go back and forth with this. You and I both. Um, in terms of talent and everything else like that being there, he's just not it, man. Like I know, I know you want to say, give him better weapons, give him this, give him that. He's just, I just don't see it.
I guess I
It
don't. I guess I would have to know what you mean by it. Is he Tom Brady? Then no. Is he Patrick
no,
Mahomes? Then no.
I don't even think he's Jared Goff.
I mean,
Like
I don't know.
there's he's the worst quarterback in the division.
Yeah, but Jared Goff played with Ben Johnson and Sean McVay.
We can't we can't sit here and just make that argument that
Then, but do those
he
guys matter or not? Then,
oh they absolutely matter, but
but that's what I'm
also at
saying.
the
They
same
have,
point, there's quarterbacks out there that are throwing for Aiden O'Connell. Granted, he's got Devontae Adams, but we also have a number one wide receiver in DJ Moore. Who are his other wide
but what I'm
receivers
saying
and
is
tight
like
ends?
they're calling those plays. Like, yeah, Nick Mullins threw for 450 yards because they threw it 50 times, and they're throwing it 30 times to Justin Jefferson. It's like, wait, they're
Every
not taking the reins off
well,
of him.
then why doesn't Justin throw the ball 30 times
Well,
to DJ Moore?
because he's not calling the plays.
It doesn't matter. It
You
doesn't
just
matter
said
if
he
you're
took
not
the
calling the plays or not. Just throw the fucking ball.
What
Just
I'm
throw the
saying
ball
is
to him.
what I'm saying is he was 11 for 16 for 100 and something. He was at over 10 yards of completion, 70% completion rate. Throw the ball more. Like, are we saying he should just audible it to a pass play every time?
I'm not talking about just this one game in a nutshell. I'm
Well,
talking
I
about the
mean, either
whole
way, I'm just saying
season.
like that we're not the least, we're bottom five pass attempt team.
I understand that, but
So we're
we're
gonna have
now
bottom five passing yards. Like,
now we're just getting into excuses. He's
that's not
thrown
an excuse. That's just what it is. Like,
how many
you
in
can't
terms
be
of
a
his
bottom five
career,
passing
in
team and
his
then
career, in his career, in Justin Fields' career. This is what his third season. Granted, we're not counting really the rookie season all that much, and he
I
was
don't
throwing
think
to
we
a
should
bunch of
count.
scrubs and stuff like that. But just in general, he how many times has he thrown for over 200 yards in his career?
I mean, I don't know. But what I'm saying is like you say don't count the rookie year, which I definitely don't. It's hard to count year two. And I'll get into this with Eberflus as well. Just sitting on it and thinking this week, I've been calling for his job and all these things. But if you think he's only been the coach for 1 year, season two was a throwaway year. It would be ridiculous to fire Eberflus on the basis of what happened in his first year. And by that same standard, I have a hard time holding anybody to that standard because, like, we were tanking, like you tank, like we traded away our only All Pro player. We trade, you know what I mean? We traded away even Robert Quinn, our second best defensive player. We didn't sign any talented free agents. Mooney was our number one wide receiver. He missed 7 games or something. I want to see a bunch of things from Justin, and I'm not saying I just think he's mediocre right now. What I've seen, I'm talking about watching the game. I'm trying to take the stats out of it. A little bit, just the eye test. I just think he's average. I think if he was on the Eagles, he could get close to what Jalen Hurts is doing. I think Jalen Hurts is like mid. Like we've seen it this year. Like they figure out what he can't do, and you know what I mean. He's not an MVP candidate, not even close this year. And they run him into the ground. I just think if you can coach, then you can make guys look better. And yeah, Justin's not like I said. I'll say fine. He doesn't have it, whatever that is. Um, but Trent Dilfer didn't have it. Like there's other like we don't have to. Your quarterback doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes for your team to be good.
I'm not saying he does, but Trent Dilfer can at least read a defense and throw for 300 yards. He
For
can
one
lead a fourth
season,
quarter. He can leave a fourth quarter drive when the game depends on it. He can make the right decisions. He can make the right reads. Justin Fields can't do that.
you're right. He hasn't been doing that. But
It's been 3 years and he hasn't proved that he can
like I
do it
said,
once.
3 years. My first year doesn't count. 3 years because he didn't. I know spot.
I don't think we should completely discount it because those are still NFL games. Those should still be
Yeah,
learning
but where
experiences
he
for
was
him.
running 25 times a game,
Not his
and
rookie season, he wasn't.
no, well, not the. I'm
Matt
talking. Well,
Nagy was having him throw the ball 30 times a game. Like
I can't remember too much. I don't remember too much. But again, that's his rookie season. He came in week 6, got hurt, came back week something else.
I think it was week
For
4,
well, we didn't
wasn't
worry.
it?
He played like
Against
8
Cleveland.
games, 8 to 9 games, and they weren't even consecutive. And fine, yes, there could be CJ Strouds and things like that, but CJ Stroud, like we can't have CJ Stroud. Like we can't get him. We can't get Patrick Mahomes. So it's like I'm just thinking the best what we got. Um, and we talk about this every week, but statistically, the quarterback we draft is more than likely going to be Justin Fields too. Like, I mean, what are the odds that it's somebody better than Justin Fields? They might throw for, you know what I mean, 40 more passing yards a game, but they won't rush for the 40. Like I said, like I think also Justin Fields rushing yards get completely disregarded as they're not a part of the total yards that he's getting.
I
Like
don't think it's completely disregarded, and yeah, it helps having an athletic quarterback. But if you're watching the all 22, he's gun shy. He
that, I
has
agree. Yeah,
open receivers.
I won't know about that.
He doesn't throw with anticipation. He doesn't throw guys open. And yes, it has a lot to do with coaching because they coached turnovers out of him. They above all they want protection of the football, no picks, no picks, no picks. There's the Matty Berflus talked about the 200 thing that he talked about, what 200 total yards, whether it be running and throwing, two touchdowns, zero interceptions, zero turnovers. That's or zero sacks and zero turnovers. That's what Matty Berflus has praised, and maybe Justin's gotten that a little too hard and he's gun shy. But you know what? Now a new coordinator is going to come in and try to change his footwork, just like Luke Getsy did when Luke Getsy took over. Like, is it going to be too much for him? I don't know, but we can't sit here and hope for you know, uh, another Geno Smith
Oh no.
turnaround. You know what I'm saying? To where, because I mean, realistically, we talk about rookie quarterbacks or number one, overall picks that pan out and take their team to the Super Bowl. How many quarterbacks in the history of the NFL have progressively gotten much better after 3 years of absolute shit
As
at
of
the quarterback
recently,
position?
I don't know. I'd have to look, but I can. There's a few people come to mind, like Troy Aikman. He had a pretty shitty first couple of seasons, and turned it around when his team got good. I'm not. What I'm saying is like Justin. I think is a front runner. He's not. I don't. I won't even say Joe Burrow because I don't like Joe Burrow's always been surrounded by fucking future Hall of Famers. Um, like I said, Mahomes, Brady, he's not these guys. You can't put him out there with anybody, and he's gonna methodically pick you apart. But it's like those guys are a dime a dozen, and it's like just to get rid of Justin to um to go back in the carousel is I think our problem. What like I said, Green Bay is a perfect example of I like what we should be doing. Like get somebody in the late first round, maybe the second round, stuff them on the bench with the OC, learning with him for multiple years, and then you put him in. And like I said, you don't. That's what's the problem with it. We just get a guy, throw him in the fire, sink or swim. Okay, you're not Tom Brady, you're not Joe Montana. We're done with you.
Well, that's how 99
I wouldn't say
999,000.
that's not how the contenders do it.
That is exactly how. What are you
Who? What
talking
contender?
about?
What contender? Is that
What
how the Chiefs did it?
Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love.
Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers,
What other
Jalen
quarterbacks?
Hurts.
Jalen Hurts was thrown right in as soon as
No,
somebody got
he
hurt.
missed.
His rookie season he was thrown in.
Yeah, later in the year, and like I said, and then he had a tank year, and they let that slide, and then you know what I
But
mean.
every
Years,
other quarterback that you mentioned, Josh Allen was thrown right into the fire.
and it took him 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, but this is going on year four now for
Okay,
Justin,
so
and
what I'm saying is like
there's been no incremental improvement whatsoever. It's been
I don't believe
horrible.
that. I don't
It's
watching the
been
games. You're saying you don't think he's better at all doing anything than he was than year two. I don't believe that.
not turning the ball over, not throwing as many picks. That's about it. His decision making is still questionable. His processing is still bad. He still holds onto the ball too long. He
Yeah,
still
but
tries
the
to play hero ball.
yeah, I
The
agree.
only
That,
thing
but hero ball is the
he's
NBA or
improved
NFL
is
now.
not throwing an interception.
But
He still
again,
his third down rating and his fourth quarter rating is still a bit. He didn't improve on that at all. His total QBR went down from last year. Like
yeah,
there's been no big.
like I said, I don't know. I feel differently. I
There's
watch
just
the games.
like
I do think he had the better command of the offense. I just think for whatever reason they
is it
took the
because
ball out of his hands.
is it that he's made these improvements or is it that we got a number one wide receiver and DJ Moore is just a better what you know what I'm saying? And even then
I don't know, Komet doing better.
that improvement is still minimal. It's not like he made that
That
big
I
jump.
agree. Again, I'm not trying to only praise. Justin played me. Like I said, I think he's mediocre. I think he's a below average passer right now, an above average runner, which makes him around mediocre because this is the new age NFL. Running and pass is part of the thing. Jalen Hurts has got freaking like 20 rushing touchdowns.
Well, then let me ask you this. If he's a below average passer right now, what can the new offensive coordinator do to improve that? Like how does that offensive coordinator take 3 years of bad habits and turn because we're gonna expect results next year. It's not like
No,
we're
I
gonna
agree.
so how does he turn it around in one
Well,
offseason?
that I don't. Again, you got to get there. I don't know if you turn around one on. I don't know that part. You got to get the right guy. And but whatever, like if we get a rookie, we're going to be coaching away 3 years of bad habits, learning a new playbook. It's the same thing. So it's not like we get a rookie and we don't have to go through any of those same things we're going through.
But if you get a rookie, you still got to get the right guy, regardless of who the
Yes,
quarterback is. You have to get the right guy. But it would be easier for an offensive coordinator to take a kid fresh out of college, his first year in the NFL,
I don't believe that.
and try to coach those habits out of him, as opposed to a guy who's been in the NFL for 3 years already and has these bad habits
I don't
and still
necessarily agree
can't get
with
rid of
that.
them.
I mean, maybe like that. I think more is a kid thing too. I just think either way, whoever we get's learning a new playbook, coaching the bad habits out of it. They're going to hold the ball too long. And yes, I wish Justin would progress faster, but like it took Josh Allen 3 years. What if it takes Justin four? Like I don't like I said the guys like him. He seems to be working hard. He's doing and saying all the right things. So I just would
I
like give
agree.
the benefit of the doubt. I just think we throw away people too fast and to get into a little bit of Eberflus. I think this is what happened with Eberflus. We are holding. They're like, oh, he's 10-28, like or whatever. Like 13 of those losses are bullshit. Like, and I don't like. There's many things I didn't like what Eberflus did this year, but I'm not counting the first year. I just can't, in good faith, hold that year against him because he was set up to fail. And to judge him on his win loss when Jack Sanborn was our number one line, our number one defensive player all year. On top of people being injured, on top of trading Roquan, Robert, we had no pass rush, no secondary, and this year we talked about last week. This year we did better than we thought. The problem is we have short memories. We got a little hyped up, and we wanted to, like I said, we got the 8 wins, we wanted the 9. We wanted to at least beat the Packers once, but we definitely hit over the mark we're supposed to do. And I just think it's bad. Like, how many coaches are going to ever want to come to our team if they're thinking, all right, in 2 years, if I don't fix the mess the last guy made, I'm fired?
Well, I think that's like that everywhere in the league.
I don't know. I think a
It's
lot of
not
places
just
you
the
get a lot.
Bears.
Yeah, I agree, but a lot of people are poorly run.
Well, I mean, you take a look at the situation in Philly right now. Nick Sirianni just led them to a Super Bowl last year. Now there's talks about him getting fired if they lose to Tampa
Yeah, but
Bay.
he's doing like weird. Didn't he like fighting with people and like arguing thing? Like I forgot what he like. Did he like get into it at the center of the field or something? I don't. Yeah, but
Who
I get.
gives a shit? He just took his team to the Super Bowl
But
last
they're
year.
just talking shit though. He's not getting fired. They
No,
made the
there's
playoffs again.
serious reports that he may be fired depending on how this game goes in Tampa Bay. And usually where there's smoke, there's fire. We always talk about it. I don't think he's going to be, but you never know, especially with the reports out there saying that there's a dark horse team for Bill Belichick that's in the playoffs right now. Everybody thinks it's Dallas. It could be Philly. Shit, it could be Tampa Bay. Who knows? I don't
I'd say
know.
that would be crazy, Tampa
That
Bay.
would be
Yeah.
ironic as fuck if it was Tampa Bay. But all right, so got a little heated there. You mentioned it earlier, right? So let's get out of the way. We'll address the elephant in the room. The biggest news to take away from this week, besides the ass beating that we took on Sunday against the Packers, is that the entire offensive staff for the Bears, with the exception of
The O line
Jim
coach.
Dre, the tight end coach, and Chris Morgan, the offensive line coach, got fired. So Luke Getsy's gone. Andrew Janoko, Janoko's gone. The wide receiver coach Tolbert's gone. The running backs coach is gone. The second running back coach, because the first one was already fired earlier in the season. So far, there's been two requests for interviews. That was Shane Waldron, Seattle's offensive coordinator, since Pete Carroll was pretty much forced out. He wanted to keep coaching. They want to go in a different direction, so they allowed his entire staff to seek jobs elsewhere. So Shane Waldron, they put in a request to interview him, and they also put in a request to interview Cliff Kubiak, who's Gary Kubiak's son. Um, Gary Kubiak, of course, was the head coach of the Denver Broncos when Peyton Manning won his last Super
He was
Bowl.
always backup too, right?
Yeah, I think so. Um, he's the passing game coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. So both these guys are Shanahan tree candidates, both
Waldron from
Waldron
Shanahan. I didn't know that. Yeah.
and Kubiak. So out of those two names so far, do you like them? Do you not like them?
I don't know much about Waldron. I didn't really like what I don't want to say I didn't like what Seattle's doing. They got a kind of weird thing going on over there. I'm definitely interested in anybody connected to Shanahan. That's just the last thing I would like to see. I know I defend Justin and I make excuse for him. Like I said, I made it for Color, I made it for Trubisky. Um, I'm optimistic when I see guys out there I think are giving it their all. And yes, there's much more to be desired. But he's not the only one. And I would like to see him with somebody with a little bit of creativity. We saw like Getsy with the QB runs. he had it going that that Justin's second year, and he just needed to figure out how to incorporate some decent play actions or short game that wasn't screens to like work to flow with that. Like the Packers game was just a perfect example. Just we kept for like I feel like he's like a high school coach who writes up a game plan before the game, and no matter what happens in that game, he's sticking with it. They ran that fucking sweep so many times, and it was not working.
You talking about out of shotgun where they
Yeah,
just toss it?
yeah, like a pistol, but and it's like a
It's like a crack toss.
yeah, but even then, and it's like it's not a traditional sweep. It's like zone blocking because sometimes they like, you know what I mean, they hit the 3 hole or the 1 hole like. But either way, it just wasn't working. Green Bay had it on the read, like, and the play actions weren't hitting. He's blocking Rashad Gary with the smallest guy on our whole team, like blocking their, you know what I mean, their Pro Bowl, $100 million defensive end. With it's like Justin can be better, but I want to see somebody out there doing some creative shit. Like, you know what I mean, using our players to advantage. I feel like we never run double crossers. We run DJ Moore underneath a lot, where they try and kind of pick the linebacker, or what they, you know what I mean, or they know they're not going to pass him off fast enough. But the
Yeah,
route combinations, but Brian Baldinger did I posted it too. He did an amazing breakdown. He did every passing play. Nobody's like the route combos are ass, and
they
it's
they
like
don't
anytime
they
they
don't
run a
run a lot. They don't run a lot of mesh.
yes at all.
And that's the staple of the Shanahan offenses.
Yes,
And
and that's what Justin
realistically,
did in college.
and
That's what Ohio State does. Double
and
crossers all game.
and Luke Getzey coming from the Matt LaFleur tree. Matt LaFleur is also a Shanahan. I mean, Mike Shanahan, not Kyle Shanahan,
Yeah.
but he's still a Shanahan tree. You know what I'm saying? They run a similar concept offense, and there's a lot of mesh involved. Even if you take a look at the San Francisco
But yeah,
49ers now, it's zone run and mesh. You have, a deep route, and then you have two crossers, and you have a zone sitter.
yeah, the
And
Packers were killing like like I said, this game is a perfect example. You look across and the plays that like Jordan Love was killing, but to look at the route combos they're running. They're running that trips, play action, and then they're just doing levels, mesh, and all and like they're you know what I mean? There's guys open down the field. We run three hitches, DJ Moore run a fly. There's no like I feel like there's no route combos that are working together to get people open. Like it's just like weird basic shit where like, oh, you two run a curl, you run a fly. Like we need to be running double crossers. We got to get the pocket moving. Like this is shit. Like I'm not a professional offensive coordinator, but I know this is what you need to be doing. I see the other teams doing. This is supposed to be a copycat league, and Getsy can't get it right. And it's like who like the screens. If you don't have the wide receivers with the willingness to block, you can't run those screens. You just have to stop running them. Mooney knew he was out of here. He don't want to get hurt. He's not getting the ball. He's not blocking. St. Brown, I like him a lot, but he is a bum. Like you know what I mean? Like the Trent Taylor, a bum. Like the and like Komet's hurt. It's like our O line, and then like I said, the interior O line's not blocking, and it's just what are we? And I don't like to just put it all at the feet of Justin Fields. And I know that's kind of what it is when you're the quarterback, kind of like the head coach, that no matter what, you're going to get it all. But I watch more so than any other. I mean, I'm watching every Bears game, basically start to finish, and I'm seeing the plays. And yes, I just feel like more often I'm like, oh my God, fucking Lucas Patrick can't block at all. Then, oh, Justin made up that. Like in the Green Bay, none of those sacks he took, I thought was him holding the ball too long. Not a single one. I think Tevin Jenkins, he even tweeted this out. He had the worst game of his whole career. He was getting shit on. I don't know if it was just because he just had a kid the night before, or was it 2 nights before he just had his kid. Um, but he was getting shit on. Nate Davis was getting shit on. Then he got hurt. He's out of the game. Lewis Patrick was hurt, so we had a backup in. It's like he just hasn't been in I think good circumstances to win. And sure, neither has CJ Stroud. And they said he's just better than him. But I can't harp on that because we can't just have him. Like you know what I mean? Like yeah, it
yeah,
sucks.
but see,
We
that's the thing
passed
is
on
that
him, but
sometimes you got to shoot your shot, and that's why I think
they did
and
that with
here's the
Justin.
thing.
You can't keep shooting your shot though. Like that's not the best
Well,
way to win.
I understand that, but you also can't be afraid to pull the trigger because you got PTSD from Mitchell Trubisky,
Yeah,
and you know what I'm
that's
saying.
true.
Like
Yeah, I mean,
you can't. And we talk about this, with multiple different things. It's not just that, but it's interesting that you brought that up because we talk about the offensive coordinators, right? And I think and maybe you'll agree with me on this. I don't know. Maybe the people watching will agree with me on this too. But I really think whoever they decide to hire as the offensive coordinator will kind of show their hand to what their plans are at the quarterback position. My whole thing is Shane, if they hire Shane Waldron, um, or if they hire Darrell Bevel, one of those two guys. Darrell Bevel right now is the quarterbacks coach in Miami, and Darrell Bevel, obviously, we talked about being the offensive coordinator in Seattle. I think if they hire one of those guys, that maybe they keep Justin because Shane Waldron, of course, with the Geno Smith reclamation project in Seattle, he's had experience turning around quarterbacks. He did it with Geno Smith recently, and Darrell Bevel working down in Miami with Tua. Before Mike McDaniel and Darrell Bevel showed up in Miami, Tua was labeled as a bust. They were like, "Oh, he can't throw," blah blah blah
Yeah,
blah
Tua
blah
was a good
blah.
example. I didn't say him. Baker.
And well, Baker's still mid, but Baker still has better stats than Justin
That's what
Fields
I'm
does.
saying. He went back and forth, a bunch of OCs, thought he was trash. You know what I mean? And like I said, he's mid. I think Justin right now, I think he's mid, and I think that's what he can be. And I think you can win, especially a mid quarterback who's a runner, if you get the right people
Well,
in place.
what I'm saying is I think it really just depends. If they bring on somebody, like Kubiak, they're gonna want a fresh quarterback to kind of,
I don't think you pair a fresh quarterback with an OC.
I think you do. Absolutely, you do.
Unless it's somebody you think's going to be the successor to Eberflus. Like if
No, not
Eberflus
even.
gets fired,
Not
because
even.
what I'm saying is if they fire Eberflus next year, the new head coach is going to keep the old OC.
It's been done before.
I mean, it has. I'm just saying, like,
Matt
usually it doesn't
Nagy,
happen.
Matt Nagy kept Vic Fangio on the defense.
Yeah, but that's because Fangio's a fucking legend, though.
But it happens, and I'm not saying that necessarily. But this is why people want. This is why people wanted a new head coach this year anyway,
That's where I feel like they tipped their hand because
because it's
we've
going
been
to fall
talking
into the
about it. I
same
just think,
cycle.
well,
You know, it,
I just think that's why I think they're going to break the cycle. Whatever we do with this pick, it's going to, like I said, where people keep harping on this. Oh, reset the clock. Blah blah. Well, first of all, next year I was looking at the numbers. Next year, let's say we draft Caleb Williams or anybody in the top 5, they'd be making more money than Justin, and we'd have to give him a signing bonus. The only problem, like where the reset and clock comes into play, is like if Justin has like a slightly above average year where like we make the playoffs, he's like the 11th best QB in the league, and then we're stuck like Danny Dimes and we got to give him. But like if he's below average, okay, you're out of here. We draft somebody. It might not be Caleb Williams, but I think the quarterback thing, like I said, Green Bay shows way. It's not you. We said it before. It's the guy you pick. I don't even think it's the guy you pick. I think it's the culture you cultivate. I feel like if the Chiefs took really any young quarterback, you pop him in, you let him sit as a backup for a year and a half, they'd be good. And same with the 49, I guess, like except for Trey Lance, but he kept getting hurt, like really hurt, where I'm assuming he didn't get to practice a lot. And I'm assuming that just set him back. So, like I said, that was just unfortunate for him. But like Purdy, step right in his baller. Jimmy Garoppolo's, you know what I mean? He's pretty trash, and he was taking them to the playoffs every year, deep in the playoffs every year. I think we need to build a culture and a culture that cultivates developing young quarterbacks instead of just getting a guy and being like, all right, you're a savior, because that's just not going to work unless they're Joe Burrow or Pat. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't even, how do we know if that would have worked for Patrick Mahomes? Like that's a certain caliber guy to be a rookie, step right on the field and be a star. Nobody thought Stroud was going to do that.
I
Nobody
get what
did.
you're saying, but let me put it into this perspective, right? You have a very unique position to where you're not the worst team in the league to get the number one overall pick, but you have the number one overall pick. And you have the opportunity to draft somebody who, talent wise, right now, I mean, if you want to coach up this, young quarterback at number one, hopefully he pans out. Like I said, it really matters who you have coaching. But talent wise, you're never going to get this opportunity again. What the
I don't know if
opportunity
that's
you
true.
have right now, you will not get this opportunity again. Caleb Williams,
I
Drake
mean, we got
May,
it back to back years, so I don't. It's hard to say we'll
but
never get it
but
again.
but it's not the Bears. Like
Yeah,
this is a
but we're gonna have some. If we don't pick somebody this year, we're gonna have somebody else's pick next year.
yeah, but this is a perfect storm of thing. How many teams have traded for next year's first round pick from another team that turned out to be the number one overall pick?
Yeah.
Has it ever
I'm not
happened
saying it's the
before?
number one, but we can get the. We'll have our
But
pick, and
you
what if we have the
want,
number
but you
6 pick?
want
We can
your,
still trade up.
you want your pick of your guy. If this guy that you think is absolutely immensely talented, and you feel in your heart of hearts that you cannot pass on him because this guy, whether it may not be that year, but you can see him developing, and you've got the pieces in place to develop him and make him your guy, that this is your dude going forward with all the talent in the world and this roster that we have around
Oh
him,
yeah,
you have to pull the
but
trigger.
that's what. But I'm assuming that's what Green Bay did. They knew it was going to piss off Aaron Rodgers, but they probably had him hot, Jordan Love high on their board, and they were like, "That's our guy. We cannot let him pass because and we're like, we could sit him. We know that we'll groom him. He'll be fine, and when he gets out there, he'll be ready." And like that's what I'm saying. Like if we get a new OC, how are you going to know we have the right?
Yeah, but you need to have a quarterback that he could sit behind, regardless.
I mean, why
And
can't you sit behind an
we
average
don't have
quarterback?
that.
Why
We
can't you
don't
sit behind
have
an
that.
average quarterback?
Alex, okay, let's talk about the quarterbacks that sat. Okay,
Jimmy Garoppolo
let's
was. They said
hold on. Okay, well, Jimmy Garoppolo, perfect example. Jimmy Garoppolo, Jordan Love, and Patrick Mahomes. Okay, those three guys that you just talked about. Who were the quarterbacks in front of them?
Hall of Famers, but
Okay,
also they
and
were.
Alex Smith was an All-Pro.
But what I'm
What's
saying
Justin
is,
Fields?
like they had Hall of Fame coaches as well who
It doesn't matter,
coached.
but they still
That
had
does
guys.
matter. Well, that doesn't
Yes,
matter who's in front of you if like they're learning from the coach in the scheme.
it does
Andy
matter,
Reid's
but that it
teaching
also
Patrick
matters who
Mahomes.
the quarterback is in front of you as
I'm
well.
sure that does.
I
But what I'm
guarantee
saying
you,
is like
Alex.
you could put somebody a quarterback behind an average quarterback and let him like learn and then
No, you
he'd be out
can't.
the door
No,
because he's learning
what?
from your OC.
And he's also learning from the quarterback that's on the field.
Well, you can learn from his mistakes.
Even Kurt Warner, when he came into the league and he took over for Trent Green. Trent Green was a hell of a player. He was a
He was,
multiple-time Pro Bowl quarterback.
he was okay, but again, I just think you can sit and learn, and it doesn't have to be behind a Hall of Famer because you're learning from the staff. Aaron
Okay.
Rodgers already said he wasn't teaching Jordan Love. They weren't buddies.
Oh, he was teaching Jordan. He came out and said he was teaching Jordan Love, but even then,
Jordan Love said they weren't
let's
like
take a
buddies or
look at those
anything like that.
quarterbacks. Like specifically those quarterbacks. How many quarterbacks can you say sat behind in your model, in the Green Bay model? How many quarterbacks have sat behind a mid to below average quarterback and succeeded
Kirk
afterwards?
Cousins,
Kirk Cousins took over for who?
RG3, right?
And RG3 was mid?
Yeah,
No, are you serious?
he had
If
his
RG3 didn't get hurt, he's 10 times the quarterback Justin Fields is.
maybe I don't know.
He's Justin Fields
He had
before
Kyle
Justin Fields.
Shanahan too. He had Kyle Shanahan too. It wasn't like he was on some bum ass team with
He had
some.
Mike. Well, he had Mike Shanahan. It was
Kyle
Mike
Shanahan was
Shanahan's
work.
decision,
Yeah, but Kyle Shanahan was off the coordinator, right?
but
Or
it
the
was Mike Shanahan's decision to throw him in the game that got him hurt. He
yeah
was not
that
ready to
part.
come
Well,
back.
I'm talking about what I'm talking about is the numbers he put up.
But
When
again, we're talking about quarterbacks. RG3 was not a
okay,
mid-average.
but what I'm saying is like fine. Then what? We're just gonna keep drafting quarterback every 3 years because we're never gonna have a Hall of Famer to sit anybody behind.
But until you find one, like, okay, perfect. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's a fantastic quarterback.
What
He's
do you
had
do?
shit off.
And he's
He's
never
had,
done anything.
he had.
He just put up a bunch of stats. Got clapped in the first round of the playoffs.
What do
Choked.
we always say? What do we always say? And you're the one that says it too. Wins are not a quarterback stat. Are they not? In the NFL.
Not completely, but when you
You
have a
say it all the
super
time.
team, it kind of is.
No,
So
you
you
say it all. So it's his fault that his defense sucks.
no,
And his
well,
defense
it's his
blows
fault. What I'm
big
saying is
games.
like, no, the
It's
stuff.
his fault that his wide receivers drop passes
Well, it's
in
his
crucial
fault.
moments. He throws the ball perfectly.
So he never makes a bad throw or takes a bad sack or throws an interception.
Oh, he absolutely does.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
But he is also a Pro Bowl quarterback and has thrown for over 4,000
yeah, he's
yards.
great. I'm not saying he's not better than Justin. I'm just saying like, yeah, it'd be cool to have a bunch of numbers. Like Kyler Murray has better numbers than Justin, but I don't think we would have more success with him. He just does it a different way. Like some people just aren't like they don't play winning football.
They
And
play
like
the quarterback position better than he does
but
right now.
also too, Justin Herbert's averaging, you know what I mean? What is he averaging? 10, 15 more passes a game. This is
Do
when
you?
like
But let me ask you a question though. And realistically, in your take emotion out of it, in your opinion, if Justin Fields threw the ball 10, 15 more times per game, do you really think he's still putting up Justin Herbert stats?
Justin Herbert, no, no. I think Justin Herbert's better than him. What I'm saying is, let's say the Packers game, if they throw it 30 times, I think he has 200 plus yards, at least 2 touchdowns, or you know what I mean, at least 1 touchdown, and you know what I mean. The stat line does look horrible, like, and where it's saying like, is Justin Herbert going up like the coach is calling a certain play, and every time Justin Herbert's like audible check, we're passing it this time every time. Like, no, these guys are calling the plays, they're writing this shit up, and they go out and run it. And I don't
Okay,
think Justin gets that courtesy.
but say he does. Let's just say he does because we don't know, right? But we could kind of see he's making checks at the line and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
But they
Um,
have like a set of checks that you go to the offensive coordinator predetermined, like this is
well,
what we're gonna use. If they show us this, is what we're gonna do.
usually it's one run and one pass, isn't
Yeah.
it? Isn't
And then
it
they
like
probably got like a hot check, but that's stuff they've already talked about. It's not like Justin ad libbing. They built the
now?
offensive coordinator to pick that play.
Now let's just because we don't know, but let's just say Justin calls an audible. He thinks he reads the defense right, and he calls an audible, and it's the wrong read. Granted, it happens to all quarterbacks, but it just seems like to me that this happens more often with Justin because he can't read a defense. So if he's checking and he's making line calls and that's the wrong call, you could see the frustration on Luke Getsy's face when he does this because even Luke Getsy's he's come out and said before, yeah, we give him the opportunity to audible, blah 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 blah. But there's been a few times where you pan over to the side and you could see the disappointment on Luke Getsy's face because he knows that that was the wrong call, the wrong read.
I
And
don't know. He's in Justin's ear, isn't he?
I'm not putting the blame on. Well, no, they turn off the headset on the helmet before the play
I
or
know,
whatever
but what
gets
I'm
ran.
saying is like he's
But
up until the play, like if he's seeing something, he should be telling him in between plays. Like that's what we pay him for.
but that's what you're also paying a quarterback for, is to be able to
I agree.
check
Yes, and
accuracy
I'm
and
and
reads.
what I'm saying is like I don't. You're right. We don't know exactly what's going on, but when I hear DJ Moore came out and spoke, and he implied it's the coordinator, and he's you know what I mean, a vet from bad teams, and he with bad quarterbacks, and he ain't never came out and said the reason PJ Walker sucks is because of the coordinator.
I can guarantee. All right, yes, I see what you're saying, but also, and I'm not saying that this is actually I will just come on and say it. Justin Fields is the best quarterback that DJ Moore has played for, but that's not really saying a lot
Oh no, he played
because
for Cam Newton, didn't he?
no,
I think he
DJ
played
Moore
a
did not
couple
play
years
with.
with Cam Newton.
Oh, maybe 1 year with Cam
Yeah,
Newton,
one
but
or
that
two.
was like Cam. That was
Yeah,
that was hurt Cam. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I guess.
So can that really be like? Can you really say?
I'm not. Well, I don't know what you're saying. That obviously he's gassing his friend up, but
Yeah, and I'm
but what
pretty
I'm saying
sure.
is like we're NFL fans. That doesn't happen all the time. How many times do you hear? You know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen all the time. And I like DJ seemed to make it a point, and I feel like a lot of players had seemed to make a point that they don't think it's Joseph's fault, and they have intimate knowledge of what's going on behind closed doors.
I would agree with that, but I also
I don't
think
know
that
what it is.
professionals.
Maybe Justin's just the fucking best dude, and they all just really like him. That could be it too. I'll admit that. Maybe he seems like a good kid, so maybe he's just everybody's best friend, and they don't want him to leave. I don't know, but it just seems like the multiple players on the team are going out of their way to not directly say it's Getsy, but to be like it's not Justin. And if it ain't
I
Justin,
agree.
then who is it?
I I agree
And I
100%,
think
but
Poles, after the exit interviews, he believed that too.
he also said in his press conference that while he loves that, he's got to take the emotion out of it and make the best decision for the
Yeah.
football team going forward. They're all professionals. So even if they love Justin Fields, and like you said, he may be the greatest guy in the world, and he seems like he's a really good kid. He's a great leader. He's a hard worker. But at the end of the day, those teammates, DJ Moore, all those other guys, if they have a rookie quarterback come in here that can play ball and can win and is talented as all hell, they're gonna back that guy just like they're
Well, I'm
backing
sure.
Justin.
Well, I'm sure. Again, I'm not saying they're all gonna the mutiny, but what I'm saying is that will also take time. And I just
Oh
think
yeah, well
we'll
you got to
go
build
like
rapport. That's what the off season's for. But
everyone's got Stroud in there, you know what I mean, on their brain, and even Purdy. But if you look back, I've been doing research. CJ Stroud will be the 15th quarterback in 100 years, rookie, to lead their team to the playoffs. So it's not like, and just by statistics, we've had back-to-back Purdy, and then, well, I guess he had half the year, but we'll say Purdy and Stroud. That just means it's less likely it's about to happen again.
But but Houston is a little bit of an outlier on that because they had the number 2 overall pick last year. And they did it the year after having that number 2 overall pick with a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. The Bears do not have the number 2 overall pick. Technically, their pick is number 9.
Yeah.
They're a better team than Houston was last year going into this position.
I agree.
So if you have a rookie, so this isn't the same old, like I said, this is not the same scenario that we're talking about here because a good team with a rookie quarterback can still make. I mean, how many good teams realistically, when you look at it, that have been in the Bears position with your research, how many teams that were in the Bears position, a 7-win team, draft a rookie quarterback to lead them to the playoffs? The only one I can think of offhand, because it doesn't really happen all that often, because it's such a unique position to be in, would be what? Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh wasn't a bad team when they drafted Ben Roethlisberger, but they
And
drafted
he
Ben
come at that,
Simmons.
yeah.
They were still a good team.
Yeah,
Like
he was the backup, right? Yeah.
they were, and then he went in his rookie season when Tommy
Badge.
Maddox went
Oh, it
down
was Maddox. Yeah, not Badge.
and he led them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's the situation we're in. We're not
I don't know. I don't think we're the
we're
Steelers,
not
but we're kind of like that. The Steelers were
yeah,
like a
but we're
playoff
not
team.
what I'm
We're
saying
not a
is we're
playoff
not a
team.
top 5 team. We're a fringe playoff team. We proved it this year. We're a fringe playoff team.
I don't think we proved it. I think we had a weak schedule, and I think you even said it earlier. Any quarterback worth their salt shit on us. We
Yes.
just had a weak schedule, and we looked good, and we beat up on some of the bad teams. And I think 9 is a little light. I don't think we're a fringe playoff team.
I think we're a fringe
I
playoff
think
team.
we're a fringe playoff team if we play the same exact schedule we played again, and we're
Well,
playing
it's
the
not
10
we're
worst
gonna
teams in the
have
league.
well, we're not going to have that hard of a schedule next year. If you
Yeah.
take a look at the schedule, because our opponents have already been
Yeah, I
released,
saw that. Yeah.
we really don't have that tough of a schedule. If you're just basing it off of, and of course, there's going to be improvements all across the league. But if you're just jumping, forward to next season, you can see 9 wins there. And that's what you want in terms of, that's with Justin. Maybe you take one step back, maybe you finish another 7-10 season with a rookie quarterback, but you know what? That's still progress because you have a rookie quarterback that's
Yes,
doing a
but it's
learning
not
curve.
progress for certain people. Like people are playing for the rebuild's coming to an end. 7-10 is not progress anymore. It has to get better.
Well, and yeah, the rebuild's not entirely there,
And if we
but
go 7-10 again, Eberflus is getting fired. Then we're
I
gonna have
don't
a
think
new
so.
head coach.
Nope.
I don't know. I think so.
I don't think so. I with this whole thing with Ryan Poles has now attached his wagon to Matt Eberflus.
But what didn't he say he was taking emotions out of it?
There's no more excuses in
So then
terms
why does
of
well what I'm saying is like he hitched his wagon to Eberflus, but so he's gonna have emotion to than that aspect, but not when you know what I mean when it's going in anything else. I just think if Eberflus has another down year, he's definitely out of here. Like
I
because
think
Poles will
another
be out of here if they have a fourth one, so he
if they
can't do it
draft
again.
if they draft a rookie quarterback, if they finish 7-10, if they stay the same, he's not going anywhere.
I think Eberflus is.
If they go from 7 wins to 5 wins, then maybe, yeah, probably. But if they're at 7 wins and they've been in games like we were this year, he's not going anywhere. And it sucks, but it's the reality
Well,
of
I'm just saying like that just seems like then you're saying Poles has got some tie to him after Poles came out and said that. You know what I mean? I'm taking emotions out of this stuff,
he's taking emotions out of the quarterback decision,
but not the coach.
not the head coaching decision.
I don't know.
He said it was his decision to retain Matt Eberflus and that he was not, he didn't even call anybody else.
Yeah, that was
So
weird.
there's no more of this, talk when everybody's saying that. And I was one that said it because this is what Courtney Cronin had also reported. And Courtney Cronin's a very reputable reporter that the candidates of 3 that Ryan Poles got to hire from were pretty much given to him by by George McCaskey. And,
That's because we hired him late, though, right? Like,
yeah,
we hired Poles after like Peterson and everybody even got signed. Like, we didn't even
yeah.
have our GM.
So Ryan Poles essentially was, had these 3 candidates forced upon him, and he had to choose from one of the 3. He had an opportunity to upgrade the coaching position, just like he has an opportunity, whether or not he wants to take it, to possibly upgrade the quarterback position. He didn't take that opportunity to upgrade the head coaching position with all the names of head coaches that are available that are
That makes me think he's just being loyal to our
If Matt
team.
Eberflus was a free agent coach right now, he would not be interviewed for a single head coaching position in the NFL. He'd be interviewing for defensive coordinator positions, and that's it.
Yeah, coming off of being fired. Yeah.
You have all of these names this year available to be a head coach, and he was like, "No, Matt Eberflus is my
I don't
guy."
know. Like you keep saying that you don't think it has anything to record. Like that just makes me think that like after the interviews, everybody was like, "We like Eberflus and Justin," and they got Getsy up on there. And maybe he's taking all emotion out of it, sure. And he said the same thing he said last year. He had to be blown away, and we saw how that went. Um, you differ. You think Drake May might blow him away. Like the Caleb thing is weird. There's a fake tweet going around saying he doesn't want to be in
Yeah, I
Chicago.
know. I saw
But
that.
like
Yeah.
you said before, where there's smoke, there's fire, and that's not the first time that's been said. And
No, but I really
but
think a
like they
lot of
weren't
it.
doing that with Bryce Young. They
I think
weren't
yeah,
doing
I
that
think a
with
lot of
Kyler
that
Murray.
I
Like
think a
that's
lot
a
of that
real
has to do. I think a lot of that has to do with his father. The one thing I will say about Ryan Poles is he's a big character guy, right? That's why Jalen Carter wasn't drafted. Jalen Carter wasn't even on their board because of the character issues. And the one thing I will say about Ryan Poles is that he will do his homework on all these guys in terms of, he says
character
it's not
stuff.
just about the player, it's about the person as
Yes,
well. And
that makes
Justin's
me think he's gonna like
obviously
Justin. He's a good person.
Justin's got that advantage.
Yes,
Justin's beloved in the locker room, but at the
and
same
the
time,
city too. I think.
yeah, but at the same time, it's you know, being a good person isn't gonna win you football games. Talent wins you football games, and
I will disagree a little bit. I think yes, talent does come play, but I think it's more culture and teamwork. Like the Patriots were, I don't ever think the most talented team, like top
they
to bottom. Like I don't ever, not even when they had the best defenses, I don't think they were the most talented team.
they
They had
had
the
a top
best
10
culture,
defense every year, and they had the best quarterback of all time.
but what I'm saying, top 10 defense every year with different people means that it's not a talent thing. It's a coaching thing. It's a culture thing.
So
Like
then how do
don't
you so then
even
how do
now they were still one of the best defense in the league. With you know what I mean, even when they're a shitty offense, because it's culture that you know what I mean. In the building, they're like, we're gonna play defense. We hang our hats on this, no matter who we get in there. You know what I mean. Whatever bums we sign, whoever's leftovers we take, our defense is gonna be good. And like I said, I think the Bears, if they want to move on to a new quarterback, I think you get the OC you want and you start building the coach, draft somebody young, let him sit a little bit. Maybe that guy doesn't pan out, then you get somebody else. But I think you need to start building the quarterback culture. And this was on Cap and Jay the other day. The Bears have had 13 offensive coordinators in 26 years. No one has ever coached. Only one, I think, has gone more than 2 seasons.
Ron Turner?
Yes, and it's like who can how nobody can succeed in that. And I feel like I said, like it's just a circle of just
But see,
madness that we're
but see,
stuck in. And then we blame the quarterback, we blame the OC, we blame the head coach, and it's like
but
it's all
but
dysfunctional.
but we can't look at just that because realistically, if you're a good coordinator, you're only gonna be at a team for 2 years anyway because you're gonna get a fucking head coaching job.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
did any of our guys leave and go get a head coaching job?
what offensive coordinators?
Yeah, like that's what I'm
Adam
saying.
Gase,
Like, yes, you're right. Oh yeah, Adam Gates did. Yeah, but that
but
yeah, that was.
a lot of other offensive coordinators and every other team in the NFL have been there for 2 or 3 years and then got a head coaching job, with the exception of Eric Bieniemy, and that still
I
remains
think
the
there's a
one of
lot
the
of other
biggest
guys. Like I
mysteries in
said,
the NFL.
I'm assuming I don't know everybody else's, but 13 and 26 years seems like a lot. So I don't know if
It's every
everybody.
2 years usually. Well, realistically, if and
I think
they
that's if
talked
you're
about
good.
this.
Yeah, if
Well,
you're
they
a good
talked
team and
about
a
this
bad
on
team.
Cap and J Hood as well. Is that realistically, coordinators, assistant coaches, their contracts are only 2 years anyway.
Yeah.
So that's just the average
Well,
lifespan
yeah,
of.
then I didn't think about it like that. Like I said, the when they said I don't like that just seemed like a lot to me. That just means we have no kind of culture. Um, and a
I
lot of
mean,
those places
well, take
too.
a look at
And
the
but
head.
what I'll
Well,
say
take
this
a look
too. A
at the
lot of
head
those
coaches.
places they fire the OC and then they make the quarterback coach. You know what I mean? It's their guys that they're
Well, yeah,
cycling in and out.
they
Like we don't do
they
that.
bring them
We
in.
just fire a
No,
bunch of guys and get new OCs every time.
but
Like
look at
Green
but
Bay,
also
their quarterback coach becomes the OC, and they just keep doing it over and over again.
well look at the head coaches as well. That's an indictment. Probably, I wouldn't say the offensive coordinator as much, because there's really no identity. If you take a look at the head coaches of those teams, like you said, they usually promote from within.
Yeah,
The good teams do. If you
yeah.
take a look at who the Bears coaches were over the last 26
That's
years,
what I'm
head
saying. It's
coaches,
just like a dysfunction. It's not. And
ever since Lovey
again, just
left,
like when it was Jay Cutler, I feel bad for the guys because I see the flashes and I see them out there, you want to be giving their all, and they're just not being surrounded with a proper support system. And then they have to take the fall. And then the next guy, the same thing happens to him. And then we forget that this is what they always do. And that it's like, then we're like, it has, if our quarterback's not Superman, then it's all their fault. And it doesn't matter the coaches or anything.
My biggest thing is, and this is the biggest problem I have with this whole thing, firing the offensive coordinator. Why on God's green earth? What gives Ryan Poles the confidence that Matt Eberflus, the same guy who hired Luke Getzey and Alan Williams in the fucking first place, what gives Ryan Poles the confidence that Matt Eberflus is going to make the right hire this time when he didn't make the right hire last time?
I'm assuming he's going to do like the McCaskies did him and give him a short list. I
Like,
think
there's
Poles is
just,
going to be a part of this because this, I mean, we say like, oh, you don't want to have. I've been saying this. He doesn't want to necessarily have his wag in the field and get fired because of it. But it's real. Like if he drafts any quarterback and he's a bust, Brian Poles is out of here. So like if he might get one extra year if the guy, but if he gets a guy and they're not, you know what I mean, definitely better than Justin Fields, he's getting fired too, and we're going on to the
well,
next
this
fucking
is
guy.
his legacy.
Yeah,
What he does this year in this offseason will determine the legacy for the rest of his career. He either keeps Justin or he drafts a quarterback. If Justin goes somewhere else and flourishes while the person he drafts turns out to be a bust, he's fired. If he keeps Justin and Justin busts and Drake May or Caleb Williams or whoever flourishes and you passed up on not just CJ Stroud, but also another, superstar quarterback, whatever, Ryan Poles is getting fired. Like I said this a couple weeks ago. The only two outcomes that Ryan Poles could possibly have in this is if he keeps Justin and Justin, turns it around and the whoever he passed up on this year or whatever turns out to be the same level as Justin or worse, he wins. If he drafts a quarterback and trades Justin, Justin never develops and this quarterback does develop, he
pretty
wins.
much.
But at
Yeah,
the same time, if he, it's
it's a tough decision. You're right. It's a legacy one, and even last year was, and it's a tough decision to make. Like I said, I know I'm biased, and I have no problem admitting that. I've never been just what I know about football. The rookie quarterbacks usually aren't that good, and
I'm
our
just
history
trying to
of it.
play I'm just trying to play devil's advocate
Yeah, I
on
mean, you
this.
don't have to. I mean, you don't necessarily have to play double. I know a lot of people
Like,
like Caleb, and like I said before, the points people have on why we should get a new quarterback, they completely make sense to me. I don't think they're retarded. I don't think that they're gibberish. I don't think that. I just think that at some point we have to break the cycle. I think if the best quarterback we've ever had was Jay Cutler, if they wanted to, I would be on board if they wanted to go do something like that, make a move for a vet, and who had already proven. Like, let's say they trade
Justin
Justin.
Herbert,
Yeah, Justin
the
Herbert. Well,
number one overall
let's just
pick.
say they trade Justin to Atlanta. They sign Kirk Cousins and we draft Penix or Bo Nix and they sit for a year. I would be on board with that because it's breaking of this destructive cycle that we have. If we're not going to like just to get another rookie and throw him in, I just don't think they're going to. They like I said, they might have instead of 198 yards a game that Justin's getting or whatever, they might have 230. But I don't think our season's going to be any better. Is what I'm saying. Like, and is it the passing yards we want to see or like? I'm fine with the yards in total. Like,
I'm
and
fine with the
Lamar
yardage
progressed.
total as well. I want to see money downs,
Yes, fourth quarter. But I think
third
that's
down in the fourth
50-50 him
quarter.
and the coordinator. Money downs is what player you're drawing up. Can you draw up a play to get a first down? An easy one. You watch Kyle Shanahan. Yes, Purdy is great. He makes great reads. But you watch those plays. These guys are running wide the fuck open.
I can't blame Justin for a 3rd and 22 conversion not being done because of a screenplay. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that. But 3rd and 7 and less, there's like
But if
that's
you run
mostly
curl, curl, fly,
that's on both.
yeah,
That's on
that's
both
what I'm saying. I would
quarterback
have to
and
see the
coordinator.
play. I would have to, and there's some that Justin doesn't put, like you said, he's not pulling the trigger, he's not trusting his guys, and that is some shit he needs to fix because this is the NFL. You have to make anticipatory throws. You got ballers out there, and maybe he just doesn't trust his guys because sometimes he'll throw it to Komet in tight traffic. He throws it up to DJ Moore. Some of these other guys, I don't know. He just won't pull the trigger. Um, but like you said, Eberflus, that's coaching. They told him, hey, don't throw any interceptions. They didn't let him be free, and they should have been out here letting him run around and throw interceptions and do whatever. for a couple years, and I think they stunted his growth. And they should have like I don't know what Gretzky's credentials are. He was supposed to be running the West Coast offense. It doesn't look like the West Coast offense to me.
It's
And
a West Coast offense, but it's more of a it's like the most conservative West Coast offense
yes,
you've ever seen. Because the West Coast offense is, run the football, play action,
and
and
mesh, a
stretch
lot of
the
mesh.
field.
Yeah,
Yeah, and a lot of mesh. But there was not, I mean, it was mostly screen passes, man. I
yes.
mean, it was screen passes and little dunk and dime, and it didn't look right.
And it's
And
like either he doesn't know what he's doing or he doesn't trust Justin. And it's like then he shouldn't have been calling for his place in the first place because we need to get an accurate read on Justin and mix it. Like I said, it's 50-50 Justin and him. Justin, there's throws Justin, there's out there Justin needs to be made. But I just don't think I've seen Justin with somebody competently telling him what to do in his ear. I don't think from the beginning he said it. That makes me feel robotic. They say all the right things, but I don't think him and Getsy had a really good connection. Um, and the more stuff that leaks out, it just seems like the stuff with DJ Moore said that like he was calling plays that they didn't like for whatever reason. And you see it. DJ Moore runs a crosser. We get a fucking first down every time, catch every fucking time. Like, why aren't we doing this more? And it's like, oh, but we're gonna keep running the screens that haven't worked all year. We haven't been executing them properly all year.
we have what, those two screen passes
In the
in the
preseason,
preseason
yeah, we're
that
like,
worked. And Luke Getsy's like, oh man, I
it's
found my
like I
go-to.
understand you like I'm not against screens if they're working. The guys aren't blocked; they're not executing them properly, and that's a coaching and a player thing. But stop calling them. Oh man, we went a little while. There was a couple things you said you had some things on address. There was one last thing I kind of wanted to address. Jay Cutler came out and said keep Justin.
Yeah.
Um, and there was another thing I like, and this is somebody I really like, Alex Brown. After the game, he looked like he was gonna cry, but he was on NBC Sports and he was like, "I want a guy like Jordan Love. Why can't we have a guy like him?" And just this and that, and it's just like, and he's saying stuff like, "Oh, we need to just keep going out there and looking and looking." And it's like I just don't like I don't think it's a looking thing. I think you cultivate a culture where not any quarterback can come in and prosper, but you know what I mean. 3 out of the 4 of them, you know what I mean. 60% of them, you get them, and you can turn them into quality NFL quarterbacks. You get the right guys, you're hiring the right staff. That's the GM, the head. Like you said, maybe that's more of a head coach thing, and we need to fix that. Where the head coach is knowing, like I said, Bill Belichick's assistants are always amazing. You know, Andy Reid's assistants are always great. And maybe that's what I'm saying, where it's a culture thing where we need to get somebody in there who's hiring the right people who are developing our players. And it's not just quarterbacks. Our running backs don't develop. Our wide receivers don't develop. You know what I mean? Cole Kmet, I guess, but he was a really. I think he's just always been a really solid player. Even come out of college, he was ready to go, and that's what we need to fix. Like I said, Alex Brown as an NFL player, I just think he's saying stuff like, "Oh, we can't win with a guy like that." When like he won with a guy like that, we can if we build the right team and the right culture.
I mean, I agree with you. For the most part, because
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like I said, Justin has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and it's we're fresh off the season. So somebody, like I said before, somebody's head's got to roll. Everybody wants somebody to sling an arrow at, and Justin's a quarterback. That just comes with it. You're gonna get the blame. It won't be the first time. That's just what we do. I just would like to see. I guess it'll be another OC, which sucks, but you know, I mean, there's a lot of plenty of quarterbacks who have new OCs all the time. Dak had a bunch. You know what I mean? Josh Allen's had three, two, or you know, I think he's had 3 now in his 4 or 5 years. Like it
well,
happens. It's part of the game.
realistically too. I mean, the two people that they've interviewed for offensive coordinator positions, they run similar schemes that Luke Getsy runs because they're off the Shanahan tree.
Mm.
And Luke Getsy's an extension of that based off of Matt LaFleur. So I mean, it really could speak well for Justin. Maybe they do keep him. Maybe they're looking for an offensive coordinator who does run the same kind of scheme because they just want a better teacher. I don't know.
Just a better play caller. I just
It
think
just
Getsy. I
it,
don't
it
know if it's a teacher.
depends.
Getsy's uninspired play caller. You know what I mean? He's not playing chess out there. And like I can see the good things that we do, and he keeps
Well,
getting
they talked.
grounded.
The big thing in the presser was, it seemed like Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles were both throwing Luke Getsy under the bus. They made a huge deal. They must have said the word adjustment and adjustments like 20 times in this press
Yes.
conference when they were asked about what they're looking for in a new offensive coordinator. And they kept saying being able to make adjustments, based off of who your opponent is in game, week to week. You know, make adjustments to tailor your offense around what your quarterback is good at. They said that a couple of times, and those are just straight indictments of, oh, hey, he didn't do what we needed him to do for our guy.
And honestly, I just think that's an indictment of both of them. They should have, like I said, maybe not even fire him. I just think his play calls are bad. I don't know if he's a bad coach per se. I'm not in those rooms. And you could be a good coach, a good offensive coach, and not a good play caller. But like for whatever reason, like I said, the end of our season, like I said, it wrapped it up so nicely in a bow that the final play our offensive ran was a screen on 3rd and 22. Like that is like, dude, you have fucking a big, tall, big arm quarterback, max protected, throw a fucking bomb down the field. And this is what I'm saying, like, they're not empowering him. Nick Mullins, the coaches out there just fucking sling it. Nick Mullins is throwing fucking, you know what I mean, into triple coverage. Brandon Browning, these Jake Browning's throwing triple fucking coverage. Like I don't know if they're not empowering him or like I said, the no, they don't want him to throw any interceptions, but like I don't want to call that gun shy because not throwing it in triple coverage is bad, but like I want to see you do it sometimes because you think, like I said, because Jay Cutler, because hey, I got a big fucking arm and I'm gonna fit it in there. Like,
I want to see the fuck it mentality.
yeah,
Like the I can throw this ball in here. I'm gonna make that throw. I can do it. If you and you know what? I can live with the turnovers. I can live
yes,
with the
yeah, we all
interceptions.
can. People do. Josh Allen turns the ball over fucking
Yes.
twice as
I
much
and you know why they put up with it with Josh Allen?
because he
Because he
scores all.
wins.
Yeah, well, because he scores a lot of touchdowns. Yes, I mean, winning is a team thing, but um, he scores a lot of touchdowns and just put like running the ball in. It's like you're allowed to do that, and I think they scared him with the turn. I don't know what it is. If there was that part, I don't know. I'm not in the meetings. I don't know what their philosophy is and things like that. But I just see the uninspired play call and the lack of pushing the ball down the field. Like the Packers are running 4-man combo routes where it's like wheel, post, drag. Like we're not doing any of that shit. Nothing like it's like Getsy came from there. The guy who was underneath him now is calling those plays. Like it's like what the hell? Like why can't we run like the
Well,
go back and watch the Packers game? Like
Matt LaFleur is calling
yeah,
plays.
I know. I'm just saying like, and he's like one. It's like we're not doing any of that. You know what I mean? Motion. They're running like these guys are running wide open. It's not. You know what I mean? Yes, Justin's not making that turn. Jordan Love made some great throws, but a lot of those guys are wide the fuck open by design, not because Jordan Love threw them wide open. Dudes are running nobody within 5-10 yards of them because fucking Matt LaFleur drew up a fucking banger and Jordan Love executed it.
Yeah, I mean, as sad as this is to say, before we go, because I know you want to clip some of these,
Yeah.
right, to make some stuff. So before we go, this is the last thing I will say. I've got some picks for the playoffs. Let's
Okay.
see if I'm right.
Yeah.
Okay, so uh, the line on Houston at or Cleveland at Houston.
Two
Cleveland's
for the
favored
Browns,
by
right?
two. Cleveland's favored by 2 points on the road. What's your pick?
I have Cleveland. I don't
I
think that the Browns defense is going to let a rookie quarterback beat them. But like I said, I'm
I have
oh
Houston at home because Cleveland's defense is banged up. Granted, they have Miles Garrett,
yeah,
but I think the Flacco magic runs out in Houston. So I have Houston.
that'd be
I
nuts.
have Houston on the money line. Miami and Kansas City, negative 30 degrees with the wind chill. Kansas City is favored by 5.
Wow. I'll take I like Kansas City with the 5. Um,
That was my pick as well. I have
they're just
Kansas City
tough.
minus
There's
5.
Miami doesn't travel well. They don't play good teams well.
The only thing I can say if Miami runs the ball, they have a shot because with this cold weather game with the wind chill and the with the not just the wind chill but the wind gusts in general, it's supposed to be 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts that affects the flight of the football when you're throwing the ball. And I think Miami's a better running team even without Mostert. So I think if they run the ball, they have a chance. But Kansas City at home at Arrowhead, I would have to say Kansas City.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against them.
Um, Tampa Bay, Philly going on the road to Tampa Bay. Um, Philly's favored by 3.
Oh, I like Tampa with the 3. I think Philly might win, but by 1 or 2 or 3, something like that.
If
Philly, like I said, they've been weird. I think again, I think this is kind of a perfect example where Jalen Hurts having a pretty good year, but he's looking slightly above average because they lost their offensive play caller, and uh, and we saw how good that guy was doing on the Colts and how far down the Eagles' offense has come back. You know what I mean? They were like fucking Jalen Hurts was basically the fucking MVP last year, damn near. He should have been if he wouldn't have got hurt, right?
Yep. Yeah, I got Tampa Bay +3. One of my upset. I actually have Tampa Bay on the money line because if Philly plays the way, especially on the road, if they play the way they have the last 6 weeks, Baker Mayfield's gonna.
Yeah, he's a gamer too, Baker.
Yeah,
Again, and
I
he
mean
gives me hope.
he's
That's why I like him. Like I said, that guy,
and
he's just a fighter.
and Philly's defense is atrocious,
Which is
and they
crazy because they have
have
so many
is,
good
is
players.
Chris Godwin still plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right?
Yeah,
Because I haven't seen him in like the last 6 weeks, but
I was gonna say
Mike
one. He had a big game like a couple weeks ago, but yeah, it's mostly Mike Evans.
but Mike Evans is still Mike Evans, and I think Tampa pulls out the win, the upset against Philly. The Rams, Matthew Stafford returning to Detroit, and Detroit's first home game in 30 years.
Um,
Former Detroit
I'm
quarterback.
gonna go with Detroit.
Detroit's
Um,
favored by 3.
yeah, I'll take Detroit with the 3. I just think I know they got Aaron Donald, but I think Aiden Hutchinson is gonna be all over Stafford. Send to makes big plays when you need them, and I just like the Lions better. I don't know. They just got some swag to them, and I think they'll run the ball. I mean, the Rams are good too. It's tough to bet against the Rams in this scenario because they do a lot of the same stuff that the Lions do, but I just think the Lions got a lot of momentum.
I'm actually on board with that pick as well. I got Detroit covering at home. Green Green Bay going on the road to Dallas. Dallas is favored by 7.
I don't know. I guess I'd say Dallas. I think Dallas is going to win, but I don't know, maybe by like I'm thinking 6 or 7. But I'll say Dallas. I think the Bears just couldn't get any pressure on Green Bay. They have a beat up O line, and for like I said, for I don't know, Sweat didn't come to play. Our guys just going to play, but Dallas is going to get lots of pressure, so it's not going to be that easy. And the Packers defense isn't good, and so CD Lamb's going to go crazy on them.
Yeah, if Jair Alexander doesn't play, I think they cover, but realistically, I think 7 points is a lot. I have Green Bay covering the 7. I don't think they'll win, but I think this is like a 24-20, 31-28, something like that. There's gonna be points scored. But I think Green Bay covers, Dallas wins, but I think 7's a lot. I think that's a
Yeah,
lot.
7 is a lot. It's tough.
Green Bay's playing some pretty good football right now. Their defense has actually been better the last couple of weeks, even though Joe Barry is one of the worst defensive coordinators in the game. Defense is getting a little healthier. They're getting a little better, but without Jair Alexander, who I guess stepped on somebody's foot in practice yesterday, and he's questionable on Sunday. If he doesn't play, I think Green Bay's fucked. Final game on the docket. I got Pittsburgh and Buffalo. Buffalo is favored by 9. Now,
Oh yeah,
keep in mind
no
that
TJ Watt.
well, also keep in mind that there's going to be a foot of snow and
Mm.
up to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts in Buffalo.
Um, I'll take Buffalo at the 10. They've been running the ball like crazy. And no Watt for the Steelers. They're like 1-10 or some shit I saw. They're not winning that game. And I think Josh Allen's scary right now. I wouldn't want to have to play them. Um, yeah, definitely. I like the Bills with the 9.
9. I
Nine's a
was
lot,
going
but I mean, what
I
are
was
the
going
like?
back and forth with this, especially since it's a playoff game. 9 is a lot for a playoff game, and
I think it'll
regardless
be
of
like 20 to 10 or something.
yeah, regardless of who it is, I mean it's still Mike Tomlin coaching for Pittsburgh, and he always has his guys ready to play. It seems like. I don't know. I was going back and forth on this. I guess I'll play. I don't want to play it too aggressively, so I'll play it safe. And just for shits and giggles, I'll say Pittsburgh covers the 9. I just think weather's a huge factor in this game. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I mean, you have a foot of snow plus 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts going through there. I don't see a lot of points in
I don't think
general
it'll
being
be a lot of pass. I just think they've been running the ball well with the running backs, and then you add in Josh Allen, no TJ Watt, they're gonna fucking gouge them.
Yeah, but footing for everybody's going to be pretty tough, regardless. I just don't see a lot of points being scored in this game. If you're a person that likes to bet the over under, I would definitely bet the under in this game. But
It's probably low,
yeah,
37 or something like that.
I'll take Pitt +9. I'll go against you this one. We'll see. We'll come back next week and we'll see who
How
had.
those panned out, and if there's any more trolling from Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
But all right,
whoever's burner account that is,
it's
they
not a
do a
burner. He just is like,
oh no, like a troll account.
you know,
Um, they do a great job at trolling. That was an excellent troll because I
everybody
mean,
was running with it.
like wildfire.
Well, because what I'm saying is because, like you said earlier, when there's smoke, there's fire, and the only way these things go crazy is because people believe it. Like nobody was doing that with Bryce Young or Trevor Lawrence or anybody because like nobody would believe that shit. But Caleb's got a little diva in him, and I don't know. Chicago's not for divas. We need smoking Jay Cutlers. You gotta be smoking us. You know what I mean? Now he's a fucking bags champion or whatever the fuck he's
Well, I
doing. It's
mean,
like,
hey, JJ McCarthy was smoking a cigar after the national championship.
yeah, I don't. Well, I'm interested to see. I think he's waiting to see if Harbaugh decides he might come back. He don't got a reason to go to the NFL. He's royalty. The NIL deal they're gonna give him is like probably comparable to what he would get paid as a rookie. A late first round pick's only making like $4 or $5 million a year. Like they'll definitely pay him more to come back to Michigan, and he's already the most winningest quarterback in Michigan history, running back. I don't know. And then next year you'll be a top 10 pick, top 15 for sure, first rounder for sure at least.
Yeah,
This
I
year
mean,
he's fucked. There's too
no,
many
this year
guys.
I still think he's a first rounder this
No, I don't
year.
think so. I think he'd go
Um,
like the second or
but
third. There's too many guys. Like, and once the combine goes and these guys start running fast and throwing balls down the field, JJ McCarthy is good. He runs like a 4.5, but I don't know. He's like one of those old AJ McCarron Alabama quarterbacks who just you know what I mean? Nothing. I like him a lot, but we'll see though. I don't think he's a first rounder this year. I think he for sure would be like top 10, 15 next year.
even with Shadur coming out next year
Yeah,
and
I think
King,
Shador will be like one, and then I don't know. There'll be some guy who emerges, whatever, but he'll have the resume. And like I said, it probably didn't play in the playoffs again. But all right, we'll pick it up back next week. This one ran a little long, but our conversations are a little longer once the season's over because we don't have we'll have no more depressing shit to talk about. But all right, I'll see you next week, buddy. Like, follow,
see you next
subscribe,
week.
everybody. If you stuck in this far, adios.
Adios.